Welcome back to Northern Perspective, everybody. And I know you can see us, so.
But can they hear us?
I'm pretty sure everybody can hear us. So, anyway, here we are. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Tanya.
And
I'm a little under the weather today, so if I don't look or sound like myself, that's why.
well, you're not going to look like your avatar, that's for
No.
sure. So, but it's we were kind of dreading this past week, just because of how busy it was going to be, and it certainly lived up to the hype.
It was fun though.
It was definitely fun, but it definitely lived up to the busy dread. But while we were doing everything, it was great. It's just it was tiring.
It's always like a production to get everything in the studio packed up and then shipped off and put in the bags, and then to get Vincent ready and get him in the car and all that stuff.
But
he loves it. He loves traveling.
Oh, Tanya forgot to post rules in the chat. There you go.
No, I didn't.
Oh, no, they were there. Okay.
They're at the bottom now, which is strange. I don't like it. I liked it when they were at the top. I don't know. My brain just can't process it at the bottom. It seems like it's another like comment that's trying to come up, but it's not.
Yeah, I think tech managers like the user experience guys to move crap around in technology just to show that they're doing something. Any UX guys that are in the chat, you can confirm my thoughts on that. But it's really annoying when they just move stuff for literally no reason at all.
Just for funsies, right?
No reason at all. So, anyhow, we had a really good week, and one of the events that we were at was Connie Cody's conservative crazy podcast. So it was the first time we actually did a podcast on the road, and it was good.
It was good. Cool, yeah.
So we were able to set up on kind of like a stage, or not like a stage. It was a stage. So thanks to Rainey and Jen and Connie and all of our team and Bill and John and everybody I'm forgetting. But it was great. It was pretty smooth. And we're now into the editing of that, but a whole bunch of people in Cambridge got to see that live, and we got to do a live Q&A, which was a lot of fun, and had a few drinks in the process. So it's always great.
You did at least.
It's always great to come out to those events.
But the venue was absolutely gorgeous. I think it was called the Newfoundland Club,
Mm-hmm.
and it was stunning. There was like this big, beautiful stage. I loved it. It was perfect.
So. The other thing that happened yesterday was the CCFRs, or the Canadian Coalition for Firearms Rights, their annual general meeting, which was in, I guess it was technically Mississauga. I think it was Dixie Road, and it was packed house. Sheila Gunn Reid was the keynote speaker that night, with which a whole bunch of other phenomenal speakers that were there throughout the day. I had the privilege of delivering a speech on behalf of NP Nation there, and just want to say thank you to Rod and Tracy and everybody over at the CCFR for inviting us. And it was an emotional night, but it was a night that you felt like the whole room was full of family, and that was amazing. And they were celebrating their documentary about the
Gunny Girls.
The Gunny
right?
Girl.
Yeah. Oh, did you grab the calendar?
It's upstairs.
It's upstairs. Okay.
But we are going to be helping them promote the documentary. I got to see it last night, which was great, and it's funny. It's funny how the far left loves to talk about women empowerment.
Except for when we're doing something that they don't like.
Well, as long as they're the ones deciding what women empowerment is.
Right. I mean, on Facebook, when the Canada Conservative Women's Association had announced that I was an ambassador, there was 3 comments by liberal men saying nasty things. And I'm just like, you guys are all for empowerment. Again, when it's something that you want.
Yeah.
I can't make up my mind and join the political party I want. No, it's wrong if I do that, right?
So
It's just so annoying.
So it's lots of fun. But I do have to give a special shout out to Josh. And Josh, he's the owner and operator of Dirty Leather. And let me just show you what he called me over to where he was working, because he had a kind of a booth there, and he said, "Come see me after you're done." And so I did, and this is what he was doing. So I muted that. So this is Josh, and he is stamping some stuff into this belt, and I kind of got an idea of what he was doing after he asked. Well, he wrote down Northern Perspective, and then he said, "Make sure that's spelled right." And I'm like, "You are not going to do that." And he said, "Well, do you have some time?" And I said, "Yeah, I have all the time in the world for you." So he was taking these metal plates out, and he was stamping something all into the leather there. And let me just show you what it came out as. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it, but
I can go bring it to the camera if you want.
sure, if you want.
Okay.
There you go.
Here we are. See if I can focus. The lighting here is not very good.
Yeah, because the light's all on us.
Shoot.
So.
It does say Northern Perspective.
So anyway, let's see if I can move it around so people can kind of see it in the light there. But it was a.
Oh wait, I got an idea. Why don't you hold it up and I'll show my flashlight on it?
Oh, okay, sure. We improvise here on Northern Perspective, so.
No, they come around. Let's see if that'll work.
There you go. Yeah, that's perfect.
My phone
That's
doesn't work.
perfect. You can see it perfect there. So. Anyway,
There we
so
go.
thank you to Josh over at Dirty Leather, and I'll be sampling the wares on your shop and your website if you have one.
He does, yeah. We were looking at it this afternoon, remember?
Yeah. So.
So Google Dirty Leather, and the website is there. Yeah.
So support local, support Canadian whenever you can. Not at the expense of demonizing Americans, of course, as Mark Carney and everybody would have us do. So, so that was that, and a while ago, we had asked everybody to keep your fingers like toes and everything else crossed for us. Unfortunately, the event that we wanted to happen as a result of keeping our toes and fingers crossed didn't come to fruition, but we now have another shot, and we're hoping to get that in little less than 2 weeks time. So fingers, toes, everything you got, and if you have pets out there, unless it's painful, cross all their toes and everything for
They
us.
can't cross their toes.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
No.
So, because we have a super important interview that we're trying to get, and I'm hoping we're going to get it, because it's already been rescheduled twice and canceled once. So, so we'll see what happens. It is not a Canadian politician, and it's nobody from this side of the world, put it that way. So
This hemisphere, yeah.
yeah. So fingers crossed. Anyway, welcome to everybody in the chat. Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Don't forget to hit that doorbell on the way in. We're about 1,300 likes behind, folks, so if you can jack that number up, YouTube will suggest this stream out to more and more people, and everyone who normally watches NP Nation will be like, oh crap, they're going live. I don't know why YouTube isn't notifying me, because of course I have my notifications turned on, right? That's right. So Anyway, folks, let's get to House rules.
So the house rules are the same three as always. You guys know them by now, but we'll read them again. It is number 1, please respect each other and the show. That means everybody in the chat, including our wonderful moderators. We have Randy, we have Cujo, and Barnaby is going to be joining us very soon. When you see Barnaby, you can start asking him your questions for the Q&A portion of the show by tagging at Barnaby from Northern Perspective. Rule number 2 is no selling, soliciting, or spamming. And number 3 is please don't use profanity. Keep it parliamentary because sometimes there are kids watching.
Thank you. Okay, let's get caught up with the administrative items.
Before you do that, I'm going to go over some other things. Number 1, we were alerted yesterday that somebody was trying to spoof our Instagram account. So thank you to that individual who let us know. And I think we spooked them because I posted right away that somebody was trying to spoof us and imitate us, and had reported it and asked you guys to report it if you had a moment, and the account was gone. And then they tried it again, and then that account was gone. So
great job, NP Nation.
Yes, thank you, number 1. And I just want to make sure everybody knows that all of our socials are listed here on our YouTube channel, and they're also listed on our website. So if you see something pop up that's not listed on our website, more than likely it's somebody pretending to be us. And please don't ever give money through like Discord or Instagram, Facebook, etc. If you would like to donate, like absolutely no pressure, but we do take the donations through YouTube, or there's some links on our website to buy me a coffee and PayPal, I believe.
We will never, ever send people messages asking for money.
Right.
Ever. So
please just protect yourself. Yeah.
No matter how hard said person tries to convince you, we will never, ever do that. So just be mindful of that. Even if somebody deep fakes us in the future, we will never, ever do that. So just refer back to May 24, 2026.
Well, that's the crazy thing. Like, I've had to tell my grandmother, if I ever call and ask for money, it's not me, just hang up. Because with AI the way it is, and being a YouTuber, my voice and my face is out there, bad things could happen, right?
Yeah, the more footage that's out there, the more sampling there is, and the more accurate AI can get. So
next thing is we have an event with Kelly DeRitter on June the 4th, and then we have 2 events on June the 6th, one in Arnprior and one in Pembroke. We have posted some information on our socials over the past few weeks, but we're going to start posting more, so you'll see it again very soon. Petitions, there are 5 petitions listed in the description of this video. They're right at the top. If you could please have a look and sign the ones that interest you. We need to get together and show our government, hey, you can't do this, or hey, we want you to do something else instead. The next thing is we got new merch, which I think you guys saw when I stood up, but there's Northern Perspective. It's my favorite. And we also have a new Facebook page called Northern Perspective. So if you want to come hang out and share some pictures of your animals, the link I believe is on our main Facebook page, or you can just search Northern Perspective.
Yeah, or just Northern Per, and it'll
pop up.
So, but if you're in the Kitchener-Waterloo area, come on out to Kelly DeRitter's event. It's going to be held, I believe, at Binghamton's, and Mario for the North is going to be joining us for that one, and it's going to be a panel discussion. Kelly DeRitter is going to be moderating. It's going to be a great time. So come on out and let's talk some politics and support some of these EDAs. There's a lot of fatigue out there. I get it. There's a lot of people that are just saying, you know what, I need to unplug for a bit. Totally respect that. If you're up for coming out, if you're up for saying hi, taking some pictures, having some laughs, and having some conversation, the EDAs need help pretty much year round between elections, just so that they can continue to put on events and continue to try to get the message out to their EDAs. So
well, and they're great networking events. Like, you get to meet so many people
in
your community. Yeah, and you already know you have something in common with them, which is awesome.
So there we go. And everybody out near Arnprior, MP Nation's coming to town. Gokanai dropping 10 memberships. Thank you very, very much for that. Good to see you in chat. And Jessica Van Luke for 10 months. They said the Canes would sweep us. Go Habs, go. Well, that's already gone. So great job, Montreal, for winning game 1. And Jessica Van Luke for $7. My mom is finally going in for her CT scan tonight. She had to wait 10 months for the call. Thankfully, it's nothing serious, but that's ridiculous. Yes, it is. Yes, it unparliamentary is. So, thankfully, it's nothing serious. HC Day for $2, listening from my farm in Rossau tonight. Oh,
very
amazing.
Nice.
And Casper dropping 10 memberships as well. Thank you very much for that. Miriam Rachel for $28. Thank you very, very much for that, Miriam. Moose on the Loose nailed it. Gladu admitted crossing to Liberals was the best thing for herself and her riding. But she once backed forcing floor crossers to get constituent promises permission first. Please sign petition 7373. Yeah, so that was that was covered, I think, shortly after she crossed.
CPAC. She had said it to CPAC first.
It was amazing.
It sounds
at
like
the
she's
convention.
repeating herself again.
Like at the convention. Like, what are you doing? And then. And I know somebody sent us an interview a couple days ago.
Yes. So the interview was done by a gentleman named David Burrows. And if you search David Burrows on YouTube, his channel will come up. The reason we haven't covered it, it's not that it's not important, because it absolutely is important. It's that as a larger channel, we don't like the idea of taking footage from smaller channels, especially without their permission, because then we get the views and they don't.
Yeah, they're trying to grow.
Yeah. So please go and check out David Burrows' channel. And the interview is there.
Whether you agree with, like, we haven't taken a look at his channel at large, so we don't know which way he leans, if any. But you know, he getting somebody like that, like somebody who's controversial right now, Marilyn Gladu, on camera on an interview like that, respect.
100%.
Because we tried to get her. She didn't want to say anything to us.
No, liberals don't like us.
But yeah, for I'm not sure what the other channels are covering, but I know that we got an interview tip from a viewer a couple days ago. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and please give Mr. Burrows the views, because he's the one that went to the work of, you know, scheduling the interview and doing the editing and all that fun stuff.
So, but it is funny that she's just, hey, just so everyone, I just want to remind everybody why I crossed, and I just want to remind everybody that, oh yeah, I did support this before, but you know, the law's not in there, so it's fine.
Well, and the crazy thing that I don't get, it's like, has she not received media training from the Liberals specifically, who saw her say that on CPAC the first time, and did they go, hey, don't say that again?
Right? It's
insane.
It's almost like Michael Ma 2.0, where Michael Ma decided to put out a clarifying statement that made what he said all the more worse. That basically said, oh no, we knew one was anti-China and pro-China, and we wanted to get, you know, discredit the anti-China person so we can get the answers from the pro-China person. That's really what he meant. Oh, thanks for clarifying that, Michael Ma's office. Anyway, so there we go. And Sean Lefty Legend, member for 30 months, almost 3 years. Thanks for sticking with us, Sean.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm here after 3,000-mile drive. Holy crap.
Oh my gosh.
Let the party begin. Oh, Ryan, working on your email. We'll let you know soon. Oh, okay.
Awesome.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
3,000. That's like 500 kilometers. Or, sorry, 5,000 kilometers.
I was going to say reverse math. Jessica Van Luke for $7. You watch the MP Gladu's interview that the independent reporter, she literally admitted what she was bribed for. She needs to be sued. Yeah, and that's what we were just talking about. So
well, and that's the thing. I wonder if she's admitting it so readily, if there is an investigation going on and we just don't know. Because, I mean, obviously the police wouldn't want to kind of like blow the lid on it, right? So who knows? And these things can take a while, sometimes years. So I guess we'll see.
And we're working on something, by the way, for later this week.
It's not an investigation.
No.
It's not a police investigation.
It's not a police investigation. It's our investigation, but it's going to be interesting. Let's see. I never know how to say this name. I apologize. iOS Sycon for $5. Evening NP, you guys met my older brother with the CCFR. Oh, amazing.
Awesome.
When you got the belt. Oh, him. And I apologize to the guy. I cannot remember his name because I met so many people. The only reason why I remember Josh's name because it was on camera. So there was this amazing gentleman there, and he bought me a drink, and he insisted on buying the belt, and then him and Josh got into a fight over what was going to go on with that. Anyway, it ended up being a donation to the CCFR. But thank you so much, and thank you to all the people at NP Nation that came up to me, and it was great to take pictures, great to say hi. Keep doing that, and never, unless we're like
Chasing
wrangling
Vincent.
or
Trying
we're,
to feed him.
or we're in the middle of setting up or packing up. We will always have time for pictures and questions and anything like that. So,
Yeah, because Vincent's fast. If you let him out of our sight, he's gone.
yeah, he's gone.
But you didn't finish the end
And
of
it says,
that
have a
one.
great evening and week. Thank you very much. Reva says for $5, a friend who works in AV has a pre-packed Pelican case with a full studio setup ready to go. When needed, it just pulls a full Optimus Prime and roll out.
Awesome. We don't have like doubles of everything, so we can't have just like a case already packed.
That's funny that your super chat for that came right after I was talking about setting up and take it down, so that's funny. And this is Jim Ross for $15. Thank you very, very much for that, Jim. YouTube is being really dumb right now. And you say, Carney government have press releases about what they will do in the future. Carney, after 8 months, signs a new MOU with Alberta. So first MOU was study. Second MOU says something may happen in a year. Yeah, if they meet all of these different requirements, which are going to be difficult to meet. The weird thing is now there's a question about this, about the referendum going on. So I don't know how you're going to get any company to commit for something certain when there's all this uncertainty going on. So, but there's people that are closer to that than we are. So hopefully something can get moving, because goodness gracious, Alberta deserves a pipeline. Goko Donnie for $5. Highly recommend Churchill's in North Bay. Their prime rib top shelf. Benefits from employment always wins over how much you make per hour. Just saying.
Nice.
And Dragon Lord for $5. Good evening, MP Nation. I have to say it was amazing to finally meet you in Wyoming. It was a great night. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a great turnout. I know everybody's upset, and rightly so, but I'm really hoping that, you'll be able to come together and pick a really stellar candidate from your community, and that they're just going to kick Maryland's butt.
Now, we are working on a possible Eastern Canada trip later in the summer. So for folks out in the New Brunswick and possibly the Nova Scotia area, stay tuned. We're hoping to put something together. We haven't finalized anything yet, but we are working in the background.
Yeah.
So,
and you know what? Shout out to Marilyn or Marianne, pardon me, for sorry, Marianne, for organizing all this stuff for us, because she's the one that organizes our schedule for us and lets us know where we need to be when we need to be, and
we keep
does a
the
fantastic
list keeps
job.
growing of the stuff that we keep throwing at her. So,
thank
so
you,
we
Marianne.
really appreciate her. And her lovely husband, Dave. Karen Whitelock for $10. Our pets can cross their paws and say their prayers. There you go. And Casper, remember, for 33 months.
Awesome.
Casper is like one of the OG supporters. Thank you so much, Casper. Hit the like button. Love seeing Casper in chat. Devil's Dog, member for 16 months. Melanie Jolie is so incompetent. She got lost today after handing out the trophy at today's Canadian Grand Prix. Come on. All right. Let's see. Maybe this one.
Oh, come on!
And maybe this one.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Jaguar, welcome back to MP Supporter. Thank you very much. And Rebuses for $5. But here I just sent you guys 1 million Guatemalan pesos via Apple gift cards. Darn it. Oh,
Oh,
that's
sorry,
unfortunate.
dude.
They'll be around at your nearest 7-Eleven to pick it up. Peter Witten for $2. Happy May 2 for Let's Rock This Stream. Absolutely. And Goko90 for $20. Keep being honest and awesome. CBC and the lame stream media are begging for your crumbs. It's kind of funny, eh? It's kind of funny that independent media, that's the power of independent media now. And we're starting to see it where the independent media, like not just us, like the group of independent media, they will grab onto a story that the mainstream media will not talk about, doesn't want to talk about, but we force it into the consciousness of the Canadian public. And then that gets magnified by all of the sharing and all of the talking and engagement. So this is where everybody that's watching, this is your power. When you want to, when you sometimes feel like, well, I'm only just one person and I'm not doing anything, you absolutely are, even by that, because when you add up all of that engagement, that's what then forces the mainstream media to talk about this stuff, because they see it going everywhere. And this is why the CBC APTN story, the prank show story, this is why CBC was forced to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. And they were trying to distance themselves from it.
100%.
Right? They were like, oh, it wasn't CBC News. It was CBC Entertainment. Don't look at us.
Yeah. So so this is the power of independent media. And this is why mainstream media is getting concerned, because they're realizing they're losing control of the narrative. We're almost like the official opposition in the media in terms of this independent group. And when we are setting the agenda of what they're talking about, tables have turned. So do a couple more. And we have Michael Kavanaugh for $2. Can we start a petition to fire Carney?
It's Michelle.
Oh, Michelle. My apologies, Michelle. My eyes are getting worse by the day. You technically could.
I suppose you could, but the Liberal Party doesn't have a mechanism in which to get rid of a leader. The Conservatives do, and I believe the NDP do as well, but the Liberals do not.
So, and Granite Man for $2. Canadians need to wake quickly from Carney coma. They need to, but I think it's still going to take a little while overall. Kathy Sharpman for 30 months. My birthday is tomorrow, turning 59. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Awesome.
All right.
I'm getting old, LOL. Have a great week, everybody.
We're all getting old.
And Tail in the Dark for $20. Hi, Ryan and Tanya. Any predictions for the fall if Mark Carney loses his majority government from losing potentially 3 MPs? It's going to depend.
It's going to be interesting.
It's going to depend on a few things. I think Avi Lewis needs to get more visible. He needs to try and get on
into the House. Yeah.
Well, we'll see if he can. He needs to try and get more interviews with CBC and mainstream media to get in front of the Liberal audience.
Not only that, but I honestly think he should start doing independent media as well. And I know a bunch of us are conservative leaning, but I think it would benefit the NDP if he did it, because a lot of the NDP voters went and voted conservative in this last election.
Now, we don't want to lose those voters.
No, but I think if you're looking at it strategically as an NDP leader...
if you were him, you mean?
Yeah, like you would go, okay, well, that's where our votes went, so those are the people I need to talk to.
If I'm Avi Lewis, I'm going everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't get worse if you're the NDP. You can't get worse. So you might as well go everywhere. But in terms of the fall, it's going to be real hard to predict. It's all going to depend on how things go with Kuzma.
Yeah.
And what Carney is going to try to say about it. Could Trump walk away from Canada on Kuzma? Absolutely. And then that best deal is gone. We'll see.
Yeah. It's scary to me that Carney and the rest of the Liberal cabinet are not actively trying to salvage this relationship with the United States.
It's gross.
It is gross.
And the fact that he says in one breath, he says, oh, well, we have a rupture. In the next breath, he says, well, we need to get deeply integrated with the United States.
Well, what's 112,000 jobs? Carney's still got his job. Their cabinet still all has their jobs, you know?
So
It's gross.
Tats are me for $7, and this and one more, and then we'll move over to the main content. Joining you from Edson, Alberta. Today is my 59th birthday. Hey!
Awesome. Another one. Happy birthday.
A pleasure to be sharing it with you and the NP Nation. Well, thank you. It's a privilege to be sharing it with you. Thank you very much. And Van Shank Guitars, member for 17 months. Hi, everybody. Hopefully I can stay awake until the end. Well, hopefully we can keep you awake until the end. And we're still about 1,200 likes behind, folks. Let's get her going. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, with all the crazy things that happened this week, there was one that may have taken the cake, but not for obvious reasons. Many of you may have actually heard about this story. Many of you may not, but it has to do with the CRTC and Bill C-11. Now, up to now, the CRTC hasn't implemented anything yet. What they've been doing is, well, doing what government does, taking a very, very long time to do anything. That's to our benefit. And they announced this. CRTC says streamers must pay 3 times as much for Canadian content.
Are the mics on? Are the mics on?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, just checking the audio, folks. The Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission, or the CRTC, issued a new decision requiring digital streaming giants to pay 3 times as much of their Canadian revenue to domestic content as before, as the United States continues to mark the Online Streaming Act as a trade irritant. Digital streaming giants, including American companies like Netflix or Disney, were previously required to contribute 5%. No money has been collected yet, however, as a number of streaming companies are fighting the decision in court. Thursday's decision by the CRTC sees that 5% jump to 15%. The Online Streaming Act was the first major reform of the Broadcasting Act and has been repeatedly noted as a trade irritant by the Trump administration. A Republican congressman introduced a bill looking to investigate whether it discriminates against or burdens American commerce in March. Quote, "We're not involved in trade negotiations. We are not in touch with the government about the status of trade negotiations. We're applying Canadian law in Canada," end quote, said Scott Shortliff, CRTC Vice President of Broadcasting. Quote, "We believe that the new requirements will be respected by these companies. Whether they choose to challenge them through any of the measures that are available in Canadian law is, of course, totally up to them," end quote.
Okay, so you're tripling the amount that you want these companies to pay. So let's just lay it out here, folks. Disney, Netflix, Amazon, everybody in between. Paramount. It's kind of the same. So, a couple of years ago, the CRTC said you have to pay 5% of your annual profits in Canada to Canadian media because, you know, our Canadian media companies can't manage their business properly. And they didn't like that. They didn't like it so much that they actually took it to court. But we'll get to that in a minute. And these guys are saying, well, we're going to triple it, and we believe that they're going to pay it. But on the chance that they don't, then they have the option of challenging it in court. How can you say that we believe that they're going to respect it and pay it, while also saying, but, you know, we'll probably see them in court because we expect them not to want to do that? This is the insanity that's going on here, folks. Anyway. This is the court story. So this actually happened in December of 2024. So streamers like Netflix, Disney Plus get court reprieve from paying for Canadian content. Global platforms challenging decision ordering them to pay 5% of Canadian revenues.
The Federal Court of Appeal says big streaming companies won't have to pay for Canadian content until it hears their appeal of a CRTC decision ordering them to pay. In June, the Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commission said foreign streamers must contribute 5% of their annual Canadian revenues to a fund devoted to producing domestic content, including local TV and radio news. Big global streamers like Netflix and Disney Plus launched court challenges of that order, which the regulator made under the Online Streaming Act. Earlier this month, the Federal Court of Appeal agreed to hear the case. A judge said Monday the streamers won't have to make the payments, estimated to be at least $1.25 million each annually, until that court process plays out. The parties have agreed to an expedited schedule, meaning the court hearing would take place in June before the bulk of the money is due in August.
Can everyone see why this is going to be a problem? Just say it. Because you have these mega giants, and they're just trying to do business in Canada. And the government is saying, hey, you want to do business here? It's going to cost you, man. It's going to cost you a lot. And, some may say, well, the fee is only 5%. But
it's only 5% of the Canadian audience.
Right.
And that's an important distinction. It's not 5% of their total revenues. It's only 5% of their revenue from Canadians.
So you can probably see where this is a concern and where this is going. But let's just, let's start here.
American streaming giants like Netflix, Disney, and Amazon Prime now being ordered to spend more money in Canada, whether they want to or not.
No one ever likes being regulated. No one ever likes particularly being asked that they should pay more into a system. Clearly, streamers would have preferred not to have base contributions, much less the requirements today.
The CRTC says to ease the burden on Canadian broadcasters, it's demanding big streaming platforms contribute 15% of their annual Canadian revenue to support Canadian content.
Most of the rest of the European Union are in the single digits when it comes to these kinds of requirements. And so Canada, with this decision, becomes really one of the most expensive jurisdictions for streamers to operate in.
The big American streaming platforms are already in federal court challenging the 5% levy the CRTC imposed in 2024.
The escalation from 5% to 15% is seen as an additional trade escalation.
Industry watchers in the U.S. call the Canadian measures discriminatory and say consumers will ultimately pay the price.
Obviously.
Well, I was going to say, isn't that the way it always is?
So this is going to be the crazy thing, folks. So the government says to these streamers, we're going to triple the amount that you actually have to pay us. Now, these streamers are going to say, well, we're not going to be taking that out of our bottom line. So to offset that, guess what's going to happen?
Canadian consumers are going to be charged more.
They're going to increase the streaming fees. And then who gets all the backlash? The U.S. streaming companies. Because as far as the average Canadian sees this, it's just the streamers that are raising these fees. Because the CRTC isn't putting out this big press release.
Well, and legacy media isn't really getting to the bottom of it either because they benefit from this.
And how rich is it, that guy on the CRTC, to sit there and say, well, people don't like being regulated, and these companies don't like contributing, and they don't like their contributions being raised. Duh. That's like saying, well, people don't like being taxed, and people don't like being censored. Hello? Welcome to the party. Like, how insulated and how much of a bubble are you living in? And why are you doing this right now?
Well, because media, like look at CBC, they're getting, what was it, $1.4 billion, and they're still on the decline. I mean, you found all those documents, and they were saying like, yeah, our revenues are bad.
Yeah, CBC is tanking.
Yeah.
But this is Carney's own government that is doing this in the middle of what Carney is trying to tell everybody is a trade war. So why are you trying to do this? Because this is, if you actually look at this, it depends on how the court actually defines what the CRTC is trying to impose. Because if the court actually defines this as a digital services tax, then that's against the CUSMA agreement. CUSMA agreement. But it's actually violating CUSMA again. And this goes back to, yeah, you know, the US throwing tariffs on us. I think that's stupid. I think that's bad for Canada. But when Canadians do this and you penalize these tech companies for actually doing business in Canada, it's free market. And as they said, Carney's own buddies in the European Union, they're not charging the US what Canada is charging.
Well, because to me, and again, this is my opinion, I don't have, you know, proper research into this, but it seems like all these Canadian broadcasters came together and said, hey guys, we're not making enough money. How can we get more money?
Right. And as the world gets smaller, competition gets more fierce because competition gets closer to home.
Well, and the other thing, if these channels like CBC made good Canadian content, Canadians would watch it. But they don't make good content.
Right.
I mean, look at this fiasco with this quote unquote prank show. Right?
Now, we wanted to hear, we didn't want to hear, but we needed to hear from the horse's mouth if possible. So here is a short clip of the spokesperson for the CRTC talking about this.
This is literally completely overhauling decades old regulatory frameworks. So frameworks that have been in place forever. There are a lot of separate issues and tricky issues, as I said, honestly, like support for English and French markets totally different. You know, contributions of online streamers and what that should look like and how do we incentivize the, you know, and how do we have flexibility around that. A lot of issues to cover. And, you know, having heard from so many different interveners with wildly different views on all of these issues, we've taken an approach where we're trying to deal with issues almost on a, you know, on a progressive basis. So like, let's get this out. So we worked super fast to get out base contributions. Let's get money into the system. We know that needs to happen quickly. And so we did that. And then, you know, moved to Canadian content, got the definition out. And so we just keep building on that and try to get things out as we can. It's the complexity of the issues themselves and the significantly different views that we have on the public record. It's been an intense process is what I would say.
It's been an intense process. So they're moving at a snail's pace, thankfully. And
Yeah.
but we actually found where they're actually going through this process and where they're updating. And it's kind of nice to actually see what's going on. So let's just take you through a little bit of this. We're not going to be reading line by line because
It's a lot.
it's a lot. Everyone will fall asleep and probably unsubscribe. Because this is not the Northern CRTC perspective. But here's the website. So this is the CRTC, and this is their plan to modernize Canada's broadcasting framework. So you can see what is coming up in the fall of 2026. So they're consulting, and they're consulting. And in winter 2026, they're consulting again. They're consulting in 2026, 2027, just so everybody feels a lot better about what they're going to be discussing and spending our taxpayer dollars on. Consulting on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Isn't that nice that they're consulting about that? Now, some of the things that they are, again, still consulting on: high quality Canadian content, consulting on tailored conditions of service, and as I said, diversity, equity, inclusion. But here's some things that they have done, and there's a long list here. And to just summarize it, they haven't done anything yet. Like, nothing is implemented. Everything has just been on consulting. So they're consulting. Moving on. Next deliverable, a sustainable broadcasting system. So again, you can see virtually everything is consulting. And then they have the Independent Local News Fund. So that's where they're making this recommendation, as well as the into the Canadian Media Fund, that incorporates this 5% deal. So that's the good thing. Now, on one of these, we actually looked at the decision, and it was it was based on, you know, discoverability. Now, this has to do with the concerns of everybody about independent media and the algorithm taking over on all of this. But to summarize it, this is the pertinent part about this. So it says, for the sake of clarity, users that upload content on social media platforms are not, and I repeat, not subject to the Broadcasting Act, and therefore will not need to comply with these conditions of service. So the good news is independent media creators like Northern Perspective, we are users. We are not said platforms. Now, will the CRTC at some point decide to change the algorithm for discoverability? Don't know yet.
Maybe.
We don't know.
Well, those documents that we found from CBC had said, you know, CBC should be displayed prominently.
Right.
And in order to do that, you have to change the algorithm.
So it's possible.
It's possible.
But as far as everything that has been announced so far, the good news is nothing has happened yet. So those consultations will continue, and even this 15%, it hasn't even been formally mandated yet. They've just announced that they're going to announce it.
Yeah.
So so that's a good thing.
Well, and we've been getting some emails and some comments and some concerned viewers that you know, Northern Perspective viewership is down and that it's due to C11. The good news is it's not due to C11 because they haven't implemented it yet. They have not implemented any algorithm changes on YouTube. Honestly, what I suspect is that viewership usually does go down this time of year because the weather's nice. People don't want to be stuck inside watching YouTube. And the other thing, I think a lot of people are just getting very fatigued from politics.
Well, and I wouldn't say that, well, when you say they're not changing the algorithm, the CRTC isn't changing the algorithm yet.
YouTube does whatever it wants, whenever it wants. But
what I can say is the YouTube algorithm is changing constantly. And it's always a pain. Every couple of months, there's this, you know, dip in the way that YouTube treats at least our channel, and then it kind of normalizes again. So like, we're in a relatively normal period right now. They're down like a little bit, but
again, it's the weather's getting nicer, right?
Yep.
People are going outside, they're going hiking, they're going camping, they're doing all sorts of fun stuff. They're not, you know, sitting in their homes in the winter watching YouTube.
So fingers crossed the CRTC doesn't go down that path. But the big concern about this is it may actually slap Carney in the face and be a very rude awakening when it comes to these trade negotiations. And this is what Pierre Poilievre had to say about this.
Well, I'm coming out against the Liberal government making consumers pay more, because let's be clear, this will be a consumer tax. It will all be passed on. Let's not be naive and pretend that the web giants or the streamers are just going to absorb it. Of course, they're going to make Canadians pay more. And Canadians will get absolutely nothing in return for this Liberal tax hike. The federal government of Mark Carney has the ability to not only get rid of this proposed tax increase, but also to get rid of the Netflix tax altogether. You'll recall Liberals put hand on heart and promised there would never be a Netflix tax. And of course, they broke that promise, and Canadians are paying the price. Our people are far overtaxed already. They can't afford to eat, heat, or house themselves. For God's sakes, let people come home and relax and enjoy their favorite binge-watching experience without paying yet another Liberal tax hike.
Well, and he's right. Canadians are not going to get anything out of this deal. What are we going to get? More shows and more news that we didn't ask for, that nobody watches, right?
Pretty much. And this is the issue. And this is where the Liberal seniors may actually finally see some negative to Mark Carney, because a lot of seniors are watching all their stuff on smart TVs now, and they're watching Netflix and they're watching some of the stuff because it's easy, right? So when they get notices that this is going up, and I really hope that if and when this does happen, that these providers say, as a result of your government's policy, we're having to increase your bill. I'm hoping they see that and they say, wait a minute, what do you mean my government's policy? Mark Carney made my stuff more expensive? But he's a genius. He's an economist. That's not supposed to happen. CBC told me so. So
yeah, because CBC is benefiting.
So it's like these little things that are going to stack on top of each other that are going to make it, problematic for Mark Carney. And this is, again, sometimes what happens when you write this legislation, but then you write it in such a way that a body can then make its own decision on it. And now it's somewhat out of your control. You can't say, well, it wasn't my fault. Well, you wrote the legislation and it's your government body. So tell me another one.
Well, it's weird to me that, they can write this legislation, Bill C-11, and then the CRTC can set the tax rate. That's crazy. Like, I know that's how it works, but it just seems wrong.
Yep.
Because, again, taxation without representation, because that tax is getting passed on to the consumer.
Imagine this goes the other way. That these streaming services say, you know what? It's too expensive to do business in Canada. We're pulling out. Can you imagine what would happen if Netflix, Paramount Plus, Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, all of them just said, you know what? It's not worth it. Not worth it anymore. And then they just geo-block Canada. Can you imagine?
Everybody's going to be getting a VPN.
Well, everyone's going to be losing their mind, and
That
rightly
too.
so. Everyone's going to be saying, what the heck?
Well, and again, like Pierre said, this has no benefit to Canadian citizens whatsoever.
So I don't think that's going to happen, but this is the interesting thing with all this legislation that's coming in by the Liberals, and you have more and more companies saying, you know what, why bother investing in Canada? Yet he seems to think there's going to be $1 trillion of investment coming in from somewhere. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. So this is what we're dealing with Mr. Carney, and he has to worry about 14 Liberals that are in his caucus that, are they going to leave? Some are going to leave probably. I'm pretty sure at least 2 of those people that are on that letter are Stephen Guilbeault and Jonathan Wilkinson. So there's 2.
Well, we know Wilkinson is leaving for sure. We speculate.
So that's that.
What's his name? Guilbeault is going to be leaving.
He has to deal with this business with the CPC and the APTN and the quote-unquote prank show, because now he has all the police organizations starting to line up against him. So that's a problem. And now he has the CRTC coming out and saying, oh, well, we're going to make it 3 times as hard to actually get streaming services in Canada. And all of this going into CUSMA. So this has been a pretty bad week for Mr. Carney. And you know what? Looks good on him. Really does. And I hope that this type of negative issue that is going on in Canada, this is what's going to keep nudging these swing voters to realize what exactly is going on. And Mark Carney can blame everybody that he wants, but he wanted to be the guy in the big chair, so he has to understand that the buck stops with him. So this is the crazy thing about this story, is that it might be one of the most consequential stories that has happened this week, even though it feels like one of these just lame bureaucratic stories. It actually hits a lot of people in their pocketbook right now when they can't afford it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to be keeping my eye on this story and the court appeal. And if this 15% is going to be, stayed in court as well, because that's what's happening with that previous 5%. They're not having to pay it right now. But what happens if they have to backdate all of that?
Yeah, that would be a nightmare.
That's going to be a problem.
But it sounds like they have to go to court in June, and then August is when it's due.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Barnaby is here in the chat now, so if you do have some questions you'd like to ask for the Q&A portion of the show in about half an hour, please tag at Barnaby from Northern Perspective and ask your question, and we will get to those in about 30 minutes.
All right, let's see if YouTube is going to play nicely or if it is not.
I'll keep you honest, don't worry.
I'm going to guess not. We have Jessica Van Luke for $7. Thank you very much. I hope ST is found soon. Everyone in that area, please keep an eye out. Indeed.
Absolutely.
Janker for dropping 1 Northern Perspective membership. Thank you very, very much for that. And Tammy Moran for $7. Thank you for your segment on addictions. I lost my brother last year to fentanyl. Spreading awareness is key. Our country is going backwards. Crazy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and it's like, I blame the government because they're putting up these safe injection sites, and they're essentially like allowing this to happen. Like giving someone who's addicted to something, whether it's alcohol or opiates or gambling or whatever, giving them more of that thing and supervising them is not the way to help them.
Again, imagine the government's approach to treating alcoholics was to contract companies to drive beer trucks around that says free beer. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, and it's not a joke. It's serious stuff, and the government is, in many cases, hastening these people's deaths, and that's not okay. The government should be protecting its citizens, not actively harming them.
And we are going to be doing another segment on this with Kelly DeRitter, who, like, her story is phenomenal, where she struggled with addiction, she was homeless, and she finally kicked the addiction, and now she's sitting in Parliament. Like, that's a success story of all success stories. And she'd said if Safe Supply was around when she was addicted, she'd be dead. And I think Melissa has a similar story. So it's crazy. Janker, remember for 17 months, change bank cards, had to update XOXOXO. Thank you so much. Oh, look who it is, Humble Tracker. Look at that.
Awesome.
Great to see you.
Long time no see.
For $50, thank you very, very much. I remember a time when having 100 watching was a milestone. You know it. You know it. I am so proud of you both and the amazing community you built. As always, cheers and best wishes to you both, loved ones and the community.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That means a lot to us. Thank you.
Gordon Muir, meant for 25 months. Can you make leather belts available on your site? I would buy one.
So you can order them through Josh's site, I believe. I think he does them online. Just Google Dirty Leather, and he's out near Wasaga Beach, but I believe he will take orders and ship.
Cut out the middleman.
Yeah, exactly.
Order directly from him.
Exactly. Support Canadian, right?
There you go. And support local business.
Yes.
Linda Rutgers for $5. There is a protest against Alto planned June 12th at Parliament Hill. Come out if you can. Oh.
Damn it. We'll be coming back to Hamilton by that point, unfortunately.
We're going to be in Ottawa like the weekend
2
before.
days before that, yeah.
Research conflicts with PM and sent emails to MPs. Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
I don't know if it's possible. We'll see. And Center for $10. NP is the gold standard for indie media. Love your work. Many thanks. Thank you very, very much for that.
We appreciate that. We try to do a good job.
Our NP Nation deserves no less. Alice Avonlea for $2. Those who can't be advised can't be helped.
Very true.
And Listless Receptionist for $5. Thanks again for coming to Sarnia Lambda. It was great to meet you. There was still a lot of anger, but I think people needed the outlet. I agree.
100%.
And there still will be anger for a while, right? So. And
it's totally justified. I mean, especially the people who were donating to the campaign and helping on the campaign, and even just the people that voted for Marilyn. And you know, she stood there and said, you know, I'm going to abide by these conservative values, and I will be your voice in Parliament representing these conservative values. And then she didn't do that.
Yeah. Ken Bowers, member for 16 months. I used to work with the Ken Bowers. You the Ken Bowers I used to work with? Lovely, lovely man. I've been off of social platforms for a while, but continue watching NP when I could. Keep up the great work. Thank you very, very much.
And YouTube skipped this one. It was from Mervyn Rice, gifting 20 Northern Perspective memberships. Thank you so much.
Very, very much. Thank you very much. Remember to give these people a thank you if you get memberships from these wonderful folks out there. Listless Receptionist member for 29 months. Did you get Tanya to watch Deep Space Nine yet? So, not yet.
That's the one with Picard, right? No.
Next Generation is Picard.
Oh, right. Okay.
So,
I mean, I've seen an episode. That was the one with Janeway, right? No.
All
right,
Benjamin Sisko.
There's way too many Star Treks.
So, there's really only like 4, which is the original series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. The rest don't count.
I saw the one with Scott Bakula.
So that one was okay.
Except they ruined it right at the end.
The ending, they massacred the ending of that show. But it's kind of on the list. She's watched the original series, so.
And I did watch at least season 1.
I think 1 and 2 of Next Generation.
Yeah, so. Because I remember when Riker was on screen, I was like, "Where's his beard?
Yeah,
make him grow it now."
And Peter Witten for $5. Exponential math is a wonderful thing. Let's keep on keeping on bringing it home. Thank you very, very much, Peter. One of the most optimistic folks in NP Nation. I absolutely love it and appreciate it. Food for thought. Member for 7 months. Great job with your interviews this week. Happy birthday. Thank you very much. Happy birthday to who?
To the
everybody
folks,
else.
Yeah,
everybody
the folks
else
in chat whose birthdays it was.
Marie Perrin, member for 30 months. Are you ever going to come to Brockville? Just wondering. Thanks for all you do, Tanya and Ron. We were
in Spencerville recently.
Yeah.
The end of March. Yeah.
We did a.
It was a food drive with Michael
Barrett.
Yeah.
That was a really good time.
That was amazing. We raised, like, all together, the community brought together 52 like huge bags of food, and I think it was $2,300 in
cash, which is awesome. So, and Janker for $2. It's great to be alive. Right for A's for $5. Oh, good. Nothing like driving all the streaming services out of Canada. What does that sound? Oh, media consolidation towards totalitarianism. Good.
Yeah, not good. YouTube skipped over this one. It is from Eosaken. It says, been meaning to clarify my online name. Oh, sorry. First it says, my brother is Chris. Been meaning to clarify my online name. Eosaken is weird to pronounce, but the I sounds like E, so EOS, and not the software system iOS.
Okay, Eosaken. Okay.
I've been watching ever since Clyde and Derek recommended you right from the start. Awesome. Thank you.
Very, very much.
Probably when we had the puppets still.
Hopefully, I remember how to say your name. Eosaken. Okay. And Linda Rutgers for $2. Oops, data protest is the 10th of June.
Oh, we will be there. Yes, we will. We will still be in the city on the 10th. That's our drive home day. So depending on the time, we might be able to come out.
Please don't have it later than 5 o'clock. And if it is, move it. No, I'm good. Just it's a bit of 5-hour drive or 6-hour drive back home. So if it's before that, 100% we can make that.
Yeah, I don't think we have any interviews scheduled that day yet.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And Randy.
Have you been hanging out with Randy?
From Northern Perspective, $2. That maroon shirt is criminal. What
from
maroon shirt?
The guy in the video you played.
Oh.
With the gray
suit,
yeah.
Yes, there should be a law against that. Peter G. Jutak, member for 27 months. Just remember, only reason a person changes is because it's too painful to not to. This will sooner or later affect Liberal voters. Yes, it will.
100%.
I absolutely am in lockstep with that. Duda for $10. It just proves Liberals are getting desperate for money and to isolate Canadians from the truth.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't even know if it's the Liberals that are getting desperate for money. I think it's the
media
broadcasting corporations that are getting desperate for money.
Well, yeah, because they have a finite market and there's competition coming in, and this is why the telephone companies are terrified of the U.S. companies coming in, because they will offer services at literally a fraction of what they're charging. So,
well, I heard that you can get a cell phone from France cheaper than you can get a Canadian one, and you can use it in Canada, and it's still cheaper with the roaming charges and everything.
And I know who you heard that from. It was me.
Oh, I was going to say, I read an article a while back.
Yeah, paying the roaming charges, it's still cheaper. And Chris Haroon for $20 in regards to the prank. Look into RT Mark. That's the real funder of the show.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you.
Well, probably one of them, because Canadian taxpayers were also funders of the show too.
Yeah.
And for $7, thank you very, very much. This is from JLS 69 full. Carney's office approved this 15 cents and wants the U.S. trade deal to fail. He can tax Canadians and pretend Liberals are not increasing CBC funding.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, we don't have like written proof that we can point to and be like, oh yeah, Carney's team is trying to make these negotiations fail. But it really does seem that way.
You are what you do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In the words of Guado from Total Recall.
But it's only a matter of time until things like that come out, right?
Well, and the Conservatives will make sure that as many Canadians understand this as possible. Carol Rayon for $5, consulting the consultants about how much more consulting needs to be consulted, very much like the telephone cleaners in Hitchhiker's Guide. Yes, they are useless, 100%. Question period is at 10:30, right?
Yep.
And
or we can start earlier, whatever you like.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Want to catch up. Whiffers SS for $20. Thank you very, very much. The irony of the CRTC tax is it won't spur innovation on content despite what they seem to believe, because those getting the money know it will always be available.
Well, and that's exactly it. What incentive do you have to change if you're always going to be having an income?
Crisis is the catalyst. I'm using the term actually correctly. Is the catalyst of innovation. That is something that I have believed and seen, and a lot of historians believe in that as well. Some of the most innovative things have come into existence as a result of crisis.
Well, and look at it from a broadcasting standpoint. Us, for example, we only focus on Canadian federal politics. Sometimes we'll kind of wade into provincial or municipal stuff, but by and large, it's federal. And we know that we're going to limit our audience, especially because it's conservative politics. But if we were talking about, American politics as well, or maybe what's going on in Europe and all these different things, we might have a wider audience. So you as a producer, I suppose, have to make that choice. Are you going to create some show that's like really niche down and only a few people are going to like it, and you might not get your return on investment? Well, that's not really a good show. Like, it might be good in terms of production and storyline and all that, but if it's not generating profit, is it a good show?
Well, and this is what has been slowly forcing Hollywood to change.
Yeah.
Right? Is it becomes a crisis when they're not making any money on their movies, and when studios start losing hundreds of millions of dollars because people are not coming out to these vanity project movies that Tanya's talking about. That puts them in crisis, because if that keeps happening, they're going to go under. So they either adapt and change or continue doing the same thing. Now, if these same companies were getting paid billions and billions and billions of subsidies from the government, then they don't have to worry about changing, because they, as Whiffers SS says, they know the money will be there.
Yeah.
But you take that away, you're going to be forced to do something. And you're going to be forced to do something that makes money. And what makes money is what appeals to the mass audience. Shouldn't be using television and these programs to push a political agenda. You should be pushing entertainment.
Well, and it's worse when it's kids stuff, right?
It's
It's
worst.
atrocious. Yeah.
Rabbit Saves for $5. Watching CBC Gem as a streaming service. Do I have anything here?
What the hell are they thinking over there?
Gem. I accidentally clicked on that today, and I just laughed and then clicked back. On your smart TV is going to make it dumber. Wait, then who will tell the CCP how the programming is going? Yeah.
Well, and the crazy thing is that CBC would not give, I believe it was committee, their numbers for GEM.
No.
Yeah.
And
Crazy.
And they wouldn't give it in ATIPs either. So that's why the Canadian Taxpayer Federation is taking it to court.
So that's a red flag.
Just for the subscriber numbers. Like, that's all they wanted. How many subscribers do you have for GEM? That's an industry secret.
No, it's not.
Is it really, though?
You sure about that? Right.
Well, Calchuck, great to see you for $2. Let's hit 3,000 likes. Gifts on the way. And we are at 2574. So there you go.
All right. Just over 400 more. Let's go.
And Jessica Van Luke for $7. KLF is going to rock it. Be sure to vote Carrie Lynn as your first choice BC.
There you go.
For your
Thank
BC
you.
voters. Libby T for $5. I saw a post on Facebook that Pierre and Anna are now expecting. Do you know if it is true they are holding up an ultrasound picture?
I
haven't
have
seen
no
it.
idea.
We've been so busy. We barely got to see Pierre's post this week.
If
so.
it was on Pierre's channel or Anna's channel or profile, then yeah, I would believe it. But if it was elsewhere, then I would exercise caution.
Well, I'm going to take a quick look as we're doing this. But let's see. I'm seeing Pierre talking. I'm seeing Pierre talking. I didn't see anything.
How far back are you?
I don't know. The dates are all in crazy Facebook mumbo jumbo. Anyway, I'll look at it a bit later. So I'm back to Tuesday, and I don't see anything. So maybe it was before that. Anyhow, Janet Corrett for $7. A number of content creators have been posting their views, and they're down a lot. Jasmine and a number of them have noted their views are capped.
Well, I mean, this, as I was saying earlier, this time of year, you always expect a decrease because throughout the winter, people are inside more. So they're on their devices, they're watching TV, they're watching YouTube on smart TVs, etc. And in the spring and summer, they're outside gardening, or they're, like I said, going on hikes or camping or just things outdoors, right?
Yeah, we've seen this pattern at this time of year the last 2 years.
Yeah. So it's fairly common, but also I honestly think people are just burned out from politics. I mean, the folks here in the chat, you guys are probably like really enthused about politics. But if you think of your average Canadian, maybe they'll check in, watch a video here or there, and they might just be burned out right now because we're stuck like this for possibly the next 3 years.
And honestly, I don't blame them. So
yeah.
But as we said, like we go through down periods in views as well.
But it's always this time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it picks back up in like September, October.
We had a time in February, March where we noticed like our views dipped a lot, and then they
normalized again. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a couple of videos that were over 200,000. So it's,
who knows?
it's frustrating. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but the most challenging part is to just grit your teeth and keep going. So Lee Busby for $5. W5 exposed drugs moving through Canadian airports via corrupt baggage workers. Yeah, I heard about that.
I briefly skimmed that article. That's insane.
75 baggage workers who should lose clearance, yet Stephen McKinnon won't act. Well,
I mean, that's a lot of baggage workers, so I wonder if they
need to do a mass investigation, and is obviously there's some organized crime going on in there.
Well, I agree that they definitely need to investigate, but I'm saying from the point of perhaps a minister or the employer, they're looking at these numbers going, we can't fire all these people at the same time.
No, but what McKinnon should do is he should go to a press conference and say, I am launching an investigation now.
Yeah.
And let's go. But that's what he's not doing. Will Kowchuk member for 29 months. Took a week to catch up. Love NP. Keep up the great work, all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Don B. Thank you, Northern Perspective.
Thank you, Don B. I always enjoy seeing that comment on our videos.
Yep, every video.
Every video.
Love it.
Awesome. Thank
RC
you.
Lammer for $2. And the winner is China. Right. And this is Santam Ram for $2, CRTC guy. But that's my swing line. Oh yeah, sorry. Let me do this properly.
Oh my gosh.
Excuse me. I asked for a Mai Tai and they brought me a margarita, and I want my swing line stapler. Thank you.
There we go. That's my Milton.
You know, I had never seen that movie before we started dating, and you like sat me down and made me watch that movie.
Because it's a phenomenal movie. And there's so many office personas in there.
Well, this is the thing about like dating or marrying somebody who's, you know, several years older than you is the stuff that he was watching as a teenager. I was too young for, so I missed out on it.
I'm seeing all the folks that recognize Milton. So there you go. Love it. We have Jim Ross for $10. Well, we know Carney cares about the internet access because he had us taxpayers pay $207,000 for his $500 charter because he wanted to be seen with real leaders. Lie, deny, act surprise. Yeah, you nailed
Yikes.
it. Nailed it. Justin Brown for $7, the closest place to get that deal. St. Pierre, just south of Newfoundland, also violating Kuzma will make it harder to get back to the table. Yes,
Yeah.
it will. And this is and then the U.S. is going to say take that off the table, and then the Liberals are going to run to CBC and say they're asking for a price to actually start Kuzma.
Well, and the thing is, the Americans are upset about how we handled the dairy thing, and we did a video on that. And I mean, if you say you're going to do something, then do it. And when we released that video, we got a lot of flack from people saying we're anti-Canadian and this and that. My attitude is, if our government is doing something in bad faith, I want to know that so that I can start emailing them and writing them letters and telling them that's not acceptable so that they can fix it.
Well, we can't win because when we criticize the Canadian government on this, we get people on the left attacking us, and then we say, and by the way, and Donald Trump, he's also a problem in this. Then we get everybody else attacking us. It's like, there's problems with both of them.
Yeah.
Nobody's innocent in this. Beat Boop for $270. Oh,
That's SK.
That's SK.
Yep.
What are your thoughts about an NP debate segment?
So we do have big thoughts about that.
We have lots of massive thoughts about that.
And I don't know if we're ready to reveal them yet.
Time. I need 36-hour days. We only have 24-hour days, and 8 hours of those is sleep. So I need 36 hours days. So there's a lot of thoughts, and it's been working on it for about 8 months now.
January at least. Yeah.
Thinking about it before, and actively started working on it in January. Yeah. So stay tuned. Myron ends for $20. Stick with Canadian content. You are doing a great job of it.
Thank
100%.
You. Yeah, we're going to stick with Canadian content, and we know that we're never going to be like, the big YouTube channel or whatever.
We're not going to have like 5 million subscribers or something.
No,
like
but this is what we enjoy doing. We're fairly knowledgeable about it.
And it's important.
And it's fun.
it's really important, right? So, Peter Whitten for $2. You cannot put a price on authenticity. Absolutely not. You can put a price on being inauthentic, though, and that price is $0. This is Thaws for $5. Did you guys see that our orange buddy did Carney's job for him by getting China to fully restrict fentanyl precursors exports to North America? Yeah, I did.
I didn't. So he got China to not export those things needed to create fentanyl.
Allegedly. We'll see what happens. And if we believe some of the crumbs that are coming out in the media, he may have gotten Iran to drop uranium, maybe. We'll see. But fingers crossed, they're close to some sort of peace deal. That'd be nice. Revis A's for $2. I'm an IT guy. Outside, a myth. Gah, sunlight.
I think Revis A's is a vampire. How do you feel about garlic?
Do you like Cradle of Filth? Do you watch Cradle of Filth?
Listen
to. Only people who have watched the IT Crowd will know that.
The British version, not the US
version. The good version.
Yeah, the good version. That's right.
Myron ends for $5. Plus political stuff slows down at this part of the year. The House is ready to go on holidays. You got it.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to wrap stuff up that they have in the House so that they can go back into their constituencies and run the barbecue circuit, as it were. But, you know, it's fun for us because we get out more and volunteer, and we do a lot of festivals and stuff. So.
And Strang for $2. It was awesome to meet you both in Cambridge. Yeah,
You too.
It was great to meet everybody out there. Thank you for coming out. And Lynn Brooks for $10. The Ontario Liberal Party's arbitration committee rejected Nate Erskine-Smith's appeal regarding the result of the nomination in Scarborough Southwest. Beaches East York will be one to watch.
Interesting. But, you know, it's kind of poetic justice that the Ontario Liberal Party's arbitration committee would reject that appeal, because it was the Liberal Party that, like, they make their own rules, number one. Each party makes their own rules. But also it was the federal Liberal Party, including Nate Erskine-Smith, that were bringing folks in from other countries en masse when we didn't have the infrastructure or the housing or the schools or the hospitals or anything like that to support it.
Well, it's just funny that the Liberals themselves are having problems with their own elections. And one of their own Liberals is accusing problems in one of their own elections. And the Liberals are telling Liberals, nah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
But, you know, the interesting thing is the Conservative Party, this was one of the things we had to vote for in the convention, if you recall. And this was the one vote that I had been there for, but actually abstained from voting because I could kind of see both sides of the argument. And I didn't really know which one to pick. But now I feel like we need to make sure that only citizens are voting in leadership races. And I would even hazard to say they need to be 16 and older, or even 18 and older instead of 14 and older, because it could be very possible for a riding to be taken over in this manner if you're allowing just anybody to vote.
Lynn Brooks Lazarus for $5. Office Space is the movie that if you ever had a soul-sucking job, that movie is a masterpiece of how you wish you could be acted working at that job, right? Especially if your name's Michael Bolton. And then these guys.
What is it that you do?
And these guys.
What would you say you do here?
Which one did I miss?
The $5 one from Myron Ends. Did YouTube skip it?
For $5 from Myron Ends, as if Carney has not been on holidays all year. Where's my $60,000 worth of airplane food for the weekend, right?
Seriously.
He's outside Canada more than he's in Canada, I swear.
How do you spend an entire, like the average Canadian's entire salary on plain food for like a weekend?
You know, if I was Prime Minister right now, I wouldn't be traveling all over the world. I'd be making Zoom calls. And we have enough to fix here without going everywhere else. And number two, if I was traveling all over the world, I would be making a point to say, bagged lunches, McDonald's, let's go. And I hate McDonald's because let's respect the Canadian taxpayer. We will eat well when Canadians are eating well. How about that? And that's what he should be doing. Carol Riom for $5. The reward for being inauthentic is a seat on the government side.
Wow.
Hear, hear. And Glenn Stewart, great to see you for $5. I'm hoping to see you three in the Quinte West. I am wearing a red ribbon on my Mountain NP cap to protest the government. Keep on posting live streams. Thank you.
We absolutely will. And I think this one got skipped by YouTube. It's a $2 super chat from Peter Witten. It says, I am that guy. I got a hat to prove it. Awesome.
All right, folks.
It's that time.
It's that time.
Oral questions. Oral questions.
Oral questions.
Let's be careful about some of the words we use. People are watching at home. Their kids are watching.
So it is MP question period time. You ask us the questions and we will answer them to the best of our ability. Barnaby is the one taking questions this evening, so you can tag at Barnaby from Northern Perspective and he will copy and paste your questions up. We're going to do this as fast and as accurately as we can. Starting with DNS556 asks, hello Ryan, Pierre won the youth vote in 2025. He should be going to colleges, universities to promote the party. He could get more votes. What are your thoughts?
I don't disagree. We definitely need people from the Conservative caucus getting out to colleges and campuses. Jamil Giovanni has been doing some work on that, so that's a start. And the trouble with, I think, Pierre and his team is he can only be in so many places, and so they need to maximize the time. I think they need to be pouring a lot of effort into the GTA because that's where they need a lot of these youth and that's where they need a lot of these seats. So I think you'll see that strategy probably come to fruition the closer we get to election time. But I don't disagree, and this is what we've been saying. The youth and women are the secret weapon to the Conservatives in the next election. And we need to be encouraging youth to encourage other youth because that's what's going to move the needle when it comes to votes.
And just to add on to that, I know that they used to have polling stations at universities before, and I want to say they were probably mail-in ballots. I don't know if they do that anymore. And if they don't, they need to do it again because a lot of people, like young people, they'll say, oh yeah, I support Conservative, I'm going to vote Conservative, but they don't actually get out and make that vote. So it's great that they're supporting Conservative, but we need to kind of bridge that gap and get them out to vote. Next question is from Tessa Myjan. It says, could Liberals exiting U.S. trade deals more and more ultimately weaken Canada so much that we'll be ripe for an economic and possibly geographic takeover by the U.S.?
No. I don't believe you'll ever see anything like that.
Economic, maybe. I mean,
well,
basically,
what do you mean by economic takeover? Like that's a loaded.
Well, let's look at the tool and die manufacturing. Right. So, if that industry disappears from Canada, it's gone forever. And where's it going? It's going to the U.S.
Yes.
So that would be an example, possibly, of economic takeover.
Well, no, I think what that is you're going to see absolutely those businesses leave Canada, and then you're going to see those people unemployed. And now what? You're going to have Canada basically heading into a recession because the Liberals are a bunch of, well, unparliamentary words. And I think I don't think you're going to end up with a geographical takeover. But I think what will inevitably happen is the excuses will only go for so long. And this is one thing you can count on with Canadian voters is sooner or later, as thick as they are, they will eventually come around. And this was the one do-over for the Liberal Party. And we've seen this historically as well. When a party gets a do-over, they get one time. And Canadians don't fall for it a second time.
Right. This is exactly 100% reminding me of what happened in Ontario, where Dalton McGuinty was the premier, and then Kathleen Wynne came in, won a majority, was premier for 4 years, and then just got decimated so bad that they lost party status. And I think party status was only 7 or 8 to get in the legislature, and they got one less than that. So I'm kind of hoping that's what happens, but I don't know. We'll see.
I think what is possible is that you end up having, where it is not possible to have businesses in the U.S., like the raw material businesses, where we're in danger of having foreign ownership take those over. That's where I think we're in danger of.
Yeah, and if they try to sell our ports or our airports, that's insane.
So,
I mean, they say that news media can, or rather has to be owned by a Canadian company, but
not our most important infrastructure.
Right. Like, what if somebody goes and buys Toronto Pearson Airport and then shuts it down? You know?
No. What happens if a Chinese state-sponsored organization buys it?
Well, and that's my point. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just throwing out hypotheticals here.
Yeah.
Next one is from Wendy Kitt. It says, Ryan and Tanya, is there nothing we Canadians can do about Carney pushing pathways and net zero onto us, as we didn't vote for it? We voted for a deal with the U.S.
Oh, 100%. There's lots of things you can do. They're just not the most glamorous. They are going to your EDAs. They are writing letters. They are making phone calls and encouraging others to do the same. We go back to the episode that we did with Franco Terrazzano on the Canadian Taxpayer Federation, where he met with the Liberals in a room, and he didn't give me any names, but he said that he went in there and they like slammed down this stack of paper, and it was letters from Canadians, and they're like, "You are making our life a living hell," and his response is, "You're making your life a living hell." It wasn't exactly those words, but so again, one person by themselves, and I was talking to somebody actually at the CCFR AGM yesterday, and he said, just on a whim, and this was during COVID, he decided to encourage some churches to do some barbecues for the first responders, and that has turned into churches like all across the GTA. I think one is doing it in Calgary, one's doing it out in Newmarket, and it's like dozens of churches that are just doing this now. Regularly, where they hold these barbecues for first responders, just so they could have me, and they have a policy. If you expect them to come to your house when you call them at your best, then that's what you should serve them. So there's no hot dogs allowed, there's no burgers allowed. It's like brisket and ribs and like stuff like that. And that one person thought of that, and we tell everybody we were 2 people, and we decide to do something crazy, and look what happens.
Well, and look at Canadian legend Terry Fox, right?
Yeah.
One person, and he had some friends with him.
I'm gonna go for a run.
Yep.
And I'm gonna raise some money. So
and to this day, we're still raising, like, it must be over $1 billion by this point, like a lot of money for cancer research.
So if you have an idea, any idea, as long as it's legal, go for it. You're not only one person. You are a phenomenal and talented one person. And I don't care who I'm talking to. Everybody out there, you have something in you to contribute to make a difference in this country in a positive way. And my advice to you is, like we did, stop thinking, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Do it today. And you'll be glad you did, because you have no idea the amount of lives that you may end up impacting. Maybe it's just one. Maybe in our case, it's 250,000 Canadians, which is extremely humbling, let me tell you that. So.
This is from M-705. It said, did NP catch the press release where the Liberals got on board with the One China policy? I know we talked about Michael Chong going to Taiwan.
If it was in the last couple days, I'd have to look. I put it this way, I haven't seen a press release about that in the last couple days. So if it is out there, then we haven't seen it yet. So let me just answer it that way.
Jessica Van Luke asks, thoughts on Premier Smith's speech on the referendum and Pierre supporting an Alberta within a united Canada, and do you still think Smith and Pierre just ruined their careers? So I will confess I didn't see either of those, but if Pierre is supporting an Alberta within a united Canada, it sounds similar to what they did with Quebec, where I believe it was Stephen Harper had declared Quebec a nation within Canada. I don't really know if that changed anything in terms of like financing or anything, because I lost my train of thought.
Well,
Sorry.
so the impression that Pierre is putting out there, and this is even picked up by mainstream media, is that he is for a Alberta staying in Canada approach, and he has said that he's going to be campaigning across Alberta for that. So, given that the mainstream media didn't pick up on anything other than that, no, I don't believe for a second that he's ruining his career. Danielle Smith, on the other hand, has a different issue, because I think she has been politically straddling the line for a couple of years on this, and I think she's kind of boxed herself into a bit of a corner when it comes to this, and it's complicated this whole pipeline deal and all of this. I think everything got really, really messy politically in Alberta. She's a extremely intelligent and very good politician, so we'll see what happens, but it's going to depend on the voters there. From what I've heard, she's elevated the discontent on voters on both sides. So that's always a dangerous spot to be in as a politician. So we'll see how she handles that. But Pierre came out and basically said what he needed to, which is Alberta needs to stay in Canada, but Alberta needs to be treated fairly, because there's a lot of grievances and they are all justified.
So let's get those Liberals out of office.
Yeah.
Rich88 asks, should there be an emphasis to increase voter turnout? Large changes bring out voters like massive tax cuts. Incremental change does not lead to turnout or a majority.
It's a good point, and I agree with that. And if I'm the Conservatives, I'm saving anything transformational or massive announcements until the next election, because doing so right now, that allows Mark Carney to take it and do it.
Yeah.
So I am waiting, and I'm building up those ace cards that and I'm holding them nice and close to the table, and I'm not letting anybody see. There's probably a few people in the party I'm letting them see until the next election. So but I agree. You need something that's a grand slam that gets everybody's attention, that's going to say, oh, whoa, that's something I want to vote for. That's something I'm going to get out of bed to vote for. So I completely agree with that.
Sorry, just doing mod stuff. Sorry about that. Next question is from Jessica Van Luke. It says, what's the plan for you guys covering the BC leadership announcement on the 30th? So I think we decided that we're not going to cover it. Number one, we primarily do federal politics, and also we don't live in BC, so we don't really know the players, and we're not sure that we can do it justice, to be honest. And you guys, again, deserve the best, right? So if somebody else out there is going to cover it better, you should totally be watching them. Because
we're so deep in some of these investigations right now, and we're doing so many events, and we're doing so many of these interviews, we're having a hard time finding time. So to Tanya's point, in order to do this justice, we would have to do some very deep research into all of the candidates, where they are, where they came from, the current situation of politics within British Columbia. We have a high level understanding of it, but like, I can't tell you who the NDP cabinet is. I can't tell you who the speaker is. I don't know. And if we're going to be doing anything for Northern Perspective, we need to be doing it justice, because if people are going to be choosing to spend their time with us, I want it to be worth it. So
if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing, yeah. Right?
So I don't want to be covering something and I have no idea what I'm talking about. It's going to make me feel awkward, and it's not going to be a great time for everybody watching. So out of respect for the viewers, we're not going to be doing a live stream. So our apologies, but you guys deserve the best. So
Tony Nagy asks, so Alberta is going to vote on allowing to have a vote. How does that make sense? Yeah, we were discussing that earlier, weren't we?
And this is
It
the
seems like
problem.
It seems kind of like a political move to try to keep everybody happy.
In trying to appease the folks that that want this, I think it's going to have the opposite effect, because it's everybody is very confused about this, especially after she just got alleged pipeline deal with Mark Carney that she was pleased about. So why would you turn around? A lot of this just doesn't make sense. I think this is a result of being boxed into a political corner, I think.
Craftwork0243 asks, do you think that Carney and Champagne are still getting along that well?
I don't know. You don't really see them together a lot. And I don't see Champagne going on the flights with Carney.
Well, and the finance minister is supposed to be the prime minister's right hand, isn't he?
Supposed to be.
Yeah.
And if you listen to Champagne, he was all excited about being best friends with Mark Carney way back during the Liberal leadership race. And the only time I see them together is in the House of Commons. That's it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So this question's from Rachel88. We actually know the answer to this now because Brian Lilly told us. And it is, why isn't there a push to create a conservative mainstream media channel? U.S. has Fox News. Alternative media will always be attacked because it is so revealing.
Yeah, so we were at an event in Burlington where Brian Lilly spoke, and he actually addressed this head on. And hopefully this makes sense. So there used to be the equivalent of a Fox News up here, and it was run by essentially Sun Media. And they were on the air for about 5 years, and it got too expensive. And they were trying to get subsidies from the CRTC, just like everybody else was. And they were trying to fight for real estate on the cable channels, and it got too expensive. And the viewership was there, but because of the expense, they were forced to actually go offline. So they said it's actually far cheaper and far more effective to have a distributed model, which is basically what's going on now, because you have a lot more different people covering different things, and it actually allows the audience to get a lot more distributed. Because if you're quote unquote Fox News, there's going to be basically one profile that's going to be built by the algorithms that are out there that actually drive traffic to your channel. But if you have a distributed amount of independent folks, each one of those has its own umbrella and its own digital footprint that the algorithms build to send traffic to those channels. So there's actually a wider reach from an independent model than there is from a localized central model, if that makes sense. So when it comes down to it, cost. And he said it'll never happen, mainly because of that. And the complete landscape has changed. And look what's happening with CBC. Look what's happening with CTV. It's too expensive for them to operate right now.
Yeah.
And that's why there's all of these, bailouts and subsidies and all of that. At some point, they're going to die in terms of a television service.
Yeah, like bills like C11 are just prolonging the inevitable.
Right.
And I recall Brian saying, now I don't recall the numbers exactly, but I recall Brian saying that channels like Global and CTV, they were getting like double digit, so like, for example, 10 cents or 12 cents or 15 cents from the cable companies to air their channel. And this conservative news network, Sun News, was asking for single digit.
Like 5 cents.
Yeah, like per person or like per cable line or whatever you want to say. And they had said no. So very interesting. Next one is from a Wolf 547. It says, with the prank show getting the attention of the RCMP, do you think this is a wake-up call they needed to do their job properly?
Maybe. because it's not just the RCMP, right? It's the RCMP, it's National Police Federation, and it's the Royal Canadian Legion, and there's going to be more. There's going to be more that stand up and come about this, and I think it's going to be even more of a wake-up call if the Liberals refuse to do anything, because now you're going to have the ranks standing up and saying, "Where is it?
What the hell is going on?"
And
WTF.
And
what the hell is going on?
So when you demonstrate that you're not taking care of the people you should be taking care of within that organization, I think that's going to be a bad day for leadership, unless the RCMP leadership is publicly speaking out against this. If they are, then yeah, this might be the wake-up call, and this is where Mark Carney's in a very, very problematic position. Let's just say
because
that.
do you support the RCMP or do you support the
Conservatives,
CBC?
right? RCMP and Conservatives.
Yeah, over on one side, and then or the CBC that you're giving $1.4 billion a year to. So he's kind of in a pickle with that one.
Yeah. And if he sides against the CBC, you may have to end up firing the head of the CBC, and you may have to end up demanding the firing of a bunch of people in CBC, and then this story goes on and on and on. So
Kraftwerk0243 asks, you mentioned an Eastern trip earlier, but any chance of seeing you both in Quebec anytime soon? We don't know. Well, I guess number one, we don't know for sure if we're going out that way. And then number two, we don't know what our itinerary is.
So is there a chance? Yes. That's about all we know.
Yeah, because we're going to be driving through Quebec to get to New Brunswick.
There are some places I would love to go to Quebec. So
Trunks the Galactic Citizen asks, will Canada follow the lead of Japan and the USA and drop the Canadian version of the UFO files? A country as big and uninhabited as Canada has a lot of space to hide stuff.
You're assuming we have agencies that can track that stuff. I don't know. Is it possible? Sure. But unfortunately, I think there are much different priorities going on in Canada, way above that. It would be great as a distraction, I can tell you that. But the fact that it hasn't come out by now from all the distractions that are surely needed by this Liberal government, I'm guessing we don't have much. So,
Scotian Gold asks, I have needed to take a break from politics since the by-elections for my sanity, and now I'm getting back into it. What do you think are the main things I need to know to catch up on?
Well, get familiar with what's coming up at Kuzma. That's going to be the big thing. Selfishly, because we're covering it, I guess exclusively. I haven't seen anybody else cover it. The $300 million boondoggle, which is Prescribe IT. We have a playlist on that we're building, so take a look at that.
And we just finished interviewing Dan Measure last week.
Yep.
And that video is posted now, and it's part of that playlist. And he was there in the health committee, so he
when
can
it was
give
shut
us,
down.
Yeah, he can give us a fresh perspective. So make sure you check that one out.
You know what? Start there, because like there's so much going on. But start there, and then maybe the last one is the CBC prank show, because that's going to blow up. That's going to blow up politically as well.
It's already blowing up politically.
Yeah.
So T. Anderson asks, Ryan and Tanya were supposed to be in Cambridge. I wanted to see if I could attend. What date and time are they there? So we were in Cambridge this past Friday, but we will be in Kitchener. I believe the location is called Binghamans, and we are going to be there on June the 4th.
4th, I think, yeah.
It's a Thursday, yeah. Joey Prefontaine asks, do you think Trump will add taxes and tariffs on Carney's Brookfield investment and be stopped by the U.S. government and be fined?
No. I don't think he'll do that, because there's too many American investors that would also be invested in Brookfield, because you can't really just tax one guy. So, and plus the investments are in a offshore account anyway. So, I don't think he can really do anything there. I don't think he will.
Wolf547 asks, with the streamers tax, is that part of the crisis that Mark Carney is creating as more hatred towards the U.S., making the U.S. the bad guys and keep fooling voters?
Oh, they'll probably sell it as such, and that's what
Yeah.
I was saying. Like when the actual, if it goes through, and then the streamers end up having to raise fees, yeah, they'll just paint the U.S. streamers as bad guys. And why aren't you subscribing to Canadian streaming services?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if that was the intention to do it that way, but I think it's a nice byproduct for them. I think the goal was to get Canadian broadcasters more money any way they could. We had covered this, gosh, probably while we were still puppets. And we had said that there was a media lobby for the news agencies. I can't remember the name of it, but they had lobbied the Trudeau government at the time, and then all of a sudden you get bills C-18 and C-11. So
yep.
I think that was like the goal, was to get more money, and then this is just a byproduct.
But this is why it's so important to be first, right? Because when the CRTC announced this, what happened? Pierre went right to CBC to try to ensure that Canadians understood what the real story was. So we'll see what happens.
Rufflebottom asks, did you see that Carney will be going to New York Wednesday and Thursday to meet unspecified CEOs, conveniently where Brookfield's headquarters are? I did not see that. That's interesting, if true. We'll have to look into that one, because Prime Minister doesn't usually meet with CEOs, regardless of who he is.
Well, he does, just they're usually from one company. Chances that he's not meeting a Brookfield CEO?
Chances are near zero.
Sorry, just trying to pick a couple more out before the time is up. Breach88 asks, is the CRTC decision intentional, just like many other anti-U.S. decisions? Carney actively wants the anti-U.S. narrative and the Trump boogeyman for his popularity. Again, I think it's a byproduct. It's a byproduct of making the U.S. and these U.S. companies look bad. The real goal was to get more money for Canada. Or
Yeah,
not even for Canada, I should say. It's for the broadcasters.
Just to game this out, let's say Kamala Harris was in power and there were no tariffs. I think this announcement would have come out as is, to Tanya's point, because the goal is to subsidize, basically try and make the American companies subsidize Canadian media. That's what's going on. So is there political opportunism going on with Mr. Carney and riling people up for anti-American sentiment? Yeah, I'm sure he will try to do that. But I don't think this 15% is as a result of everything going on. I think it was inevitable based on what the original plan was.
So I'll do two more. This one's from Moonby BY. It says, could Pierre undergo the full security clearance background vetting process to prove he can pass the check, but choose not to get the specific top secret documents, thereby providing they have nothing to hide while remaining legally free from a gag order, preventing them from speaking out on foreign interference? I mean, technically, probably, but why would you waste everybody's time like that? He's had a top secret clearance in the back as a minister, like in the past as a minister. So why would you go through the process again, waste everybody's time, resources, just to be like, oh yeah, I'm not going to look at those documents?
I think it. I understand the point, because the premise is that, well, if he gets the security clearance, then people stop talking about it, right? They'll stop talking about that.
Well, just move the goalpost again.
Well, but it actually makes his position harder to defend, because now he's in this position where he's got his security clearance, but now he will refuse to look at the documents, and that will be, I think, a much easier framing for the Liberals to actually go at him with, and it'll be much more difficult. At least in this position, he can say, look, Supreme Court, look what the Supreme Court said. And then, you know,
Yeah.
he has an external validation source to actually point to and say, they said that if I get this briefing, then the Prime Minister can silence me. And it's right there in a decision. Versus if he gets this and then he chooses not to, it almost looks worse in the narrative if he do it that way. So I understand the premise, but I think where it lands him is in a more indefensible position.
What was I going to add on to that? Oh, that additionally, he's the Prime Minister in waiting. So hypothetically, if he gets this security clearance right now and either looks at the documents or doesn't look at the documents, I think it raises questions about his leadership capabilities if he were to become Prime Minister. Now, if he gets this clearance and does look at the paperwork and learns something from it, when he becomes Prime Minister, he cannot act on that stuff because it's a ban for life. So, you know, we had said this back in, probably last fall before the polls flipped. Why would he get this clearance now? He can just wait a few months, be Prime Minister, and then see the documents and decide what to do with them.
Well, and here's the thing, Mr. Carney. If there's something of such national security interest that Mr. Poilievre needs to see, you have the ability to inform CSIS and direct them to give Mr. Poilievre a threat reduction measure.
Or he could just come out and tell Mr. Poilievre, tell the other leaders, and tell the public.
Because
he has that ability to make that call.
Yeah, Mr. Carney being Prime Minister, the Prime Minister has the ability to make information public if he deems it
in the public interest. And the fact that not only Mark Carney, but Justin Trudeau as well, have both refused to give this information to the leader of the opposition, of the official opposition, that's a bad look for them. But I think they're doing it so that they can hold it over his head. Well, you don't have a security clearance.
Yeah, they're using it as a sledgehammer.
Yeah. And the last one is from Josiah McFarlane. It says, do you guys plan to run Northern Perspective even after the Conservatives eventually get in?
Yes.
That's the plan.
Unless something crazy happens, yes. And lots of crazy things can happen, but unless something crazy happens, yes.
Okay, one more because this one's fun. Penelope Pigsworth asks, so who would Ryan and Tanya choose to play Mark Carney if a movie was made about Canada?
Oh, I know exactly who, because he looks just like him. Steve Martin.
Oh, I was going to say Anderson Cooper, and I know he's a journalist, but he kind of looks similar, you know, with the gray hair.
Steve Martin, because often comedians can actually really surprise you in very serious roles. So yeah, I would do Steve Martin because he has a lot of the similar facial features. So there you go.
Awesome. Thanks for the questions, guys.
So let's see.
I've got, I believe that's Don Wickending gifting 5 Northern Perspective memberships. Thank you so much. Oh, no, sorry. That's Goko Donnie. Sorry.
I'm just going to address this. Someone said, but you just said if Pierre became PM, he wouldn't be able to speak about it. So how can Carney appear? Okay, so if Pierre takes the NSICOP clearance
as leader of the official opposition,
official opposition, that's where he's banned for life. The Prime Minister's top secret clearance is a completely different security clearance than the NSICOP one.
And we did a video on that a couple weeks ago regarding the Supreme Court ruling. So if you do want to learn a little bit more about that, make sure you check out that video.
Okay, so we have Iron Ends for $5. You can only imagine the filet mignon lobster on that plane. Now you're making me hungry. And yes, I can only imagine it because we won't be eating it. Gokodani for 5 memberships. Thank you very, very much. Rosés for $5. Ooh, beef Wellington, you say. Don't mind if I do. And caviar. Wow! Mark Carney flying from London to Paris for the 10th time in a single day.
Pretty much.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 11sies if you're a hobbit. Myron Ends for $10. Food banks in Winnipeg are laying off workers due to the lack of donations and food to hand out. Wow.
Oh, man. And then you've got Carney spending, you know, probably what more than most Canadians have paid for a home in one year on airplane food.
Attaboy. Gokodani for $10. At some point in time, Mr. Cockroach, aka Kailu, will be begging for attention. There's only so much water you can carry for another entity before you realize you've outlived your usefulness. And Marilyn Northrup, member for 28 months, seems the Carney Liberals are acting like upgraded corporate raiders that are now nation raiders. That's what it feels like, doesn't it? And Commander Yellick, welcome back to NP supporter. Thank you. Robbie Segis for $5. Sun Media TV was killed by the CRTC. It was a disgusting example of partisan politics by a government body. There you go.
Yep.
And Dennis Schwinnard for $5. There is no pipeline. There will be no pipeline. You guys should have Dan McTeague on.
We have not had him on in a little while, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's time. I
Yeah.
think it's time, given the announcement. So we'll see. And I agree. I don't think there will be a pipeline, and because there's going to be no corporation is going to look at the regulatory and political environment in Canada and say, sign me up.
Yeah, I'm going to spend billions of dollars to put in a pipeline that, you know what, maybe it gets stopped halfway through.
They need stability.
Yeah.
So for Carney to say that the U.S. is an unreliable partner right now, are you kidding?
And thank you to Will Kowalchuk for gifting 20 Northern Perspective memberships. That must have mean we hit 3,000.
We sure did. Thank
you very much,
Will. Myron Nance for $10. The sad truth about the job market is that now they prioritize anyone marginalized, ages 18 to 30. So if you are of those qualities, you can get a job regardless of your experience or abilities. I agree to a certain extent on that, but that's actually the demographic that is becoming more employed by the day, more unemployed by the day. And we've seen that in the job numbers. So, and the other challenge is you have seniors that are having to go back to work, and they're trying to get like these part-time jobs, and the Liberals celebrate it. Oh, look, jobs. That's not a good job to celebrate when a senior actually can't retire and has to come back to work.
Yeah, we did the job numbers near the beginning of the month, I think.
They'll be coming out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, they'll be coming. The new ones will be coming out in a couple of weeks, and we'll do them again at that point.
So hopefully we actually see some growth in this country. We have RC Lemmer for $2. Can the RCMP charge MPs for corruption? Only if that corruption is a crime, and that's the tricky part, right? And that's the part that infuriates us, and I know lots of Canadians, is that in government, crime usually equals corruption, but corruption doesn't always equal crime.
Yeah.
And this is where our legislation needs to be dramatically improved, because there's some corrupt things that you can do in government and it is completely legal. And this is where our laws should apply the most and most stringently to the folks that are in those positions, because they can affect the most amount of change in this country. So why are we not holding them to the highest standard? And I think you got Myron Enns for the 10 memberships, yeah?
Oh, no, I did not.
So Myron Enns dropping 10 memberships. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Lazarus for $2. Robin Williams in 1 hour photo looks like Carney. Yeah, he kind of does, and he was good in that.
That was a good movie. It was
creepy.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a creepy movie, but it was good.
And I think he was also in Insomnia, I think, and with Al Pacino. I think he was in that one. Jessica Van Luke for $7. Did you hear about Carolyn Finley facing a federal election probe? And what are your thoughts on this? Leftist journalists are trying to stop her. I heard that there was an election probe. I'm not familiar with the details, and this is the problem with us covering BC stuff. But I know that there was a vote whether to keep her in, I think, the leadership race, and I think it was overwhelmingly or unanimous to keep her in. So I thought that was interesting. And Jessica Van Luke for another $7. Thank you. With Maya getting stronger and more stable, will you be putting a request to interview at least one of her parents? We would love to have one of her parents on. We're going to give all the space possible there.
Well, I think especially after almost losing a child and then having to go through this rehabilitation process and maybe still not knowing what the future has in store, even though like it's fantastic that she's getting better, but I think as a parent your mind kind of goes to the worst case scenario. Yeah, we don't want to intrude. We don't want to put additional stress on them. You know what I mean?
We do know, like, we have been in contact with one of the family members, and and we do know that they watch. So if they are interested in coming on the show, believe me, it would be an honor to help tell the story. But we will wait for them to be ready. So Myron ends for $5. I lost my job of almost 12 years due to the economy. I'm 53.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And this is what we're seeing, unfortunately. Rabbi says for $5 Canada. Today I will be able to retire 3 days after they find me dead at my desk.
And I think it was at the event on Friday with Connie Cody that she was saying, like, people are not able to retire anymore. You ask people our age and they're like, I don't know if I'll be able to retire. I'll be working till I'm dead.
Well, I know my brother he's approaching 60 and he will be working every day for the rest of his life because he can't afford not to. And maybe at some point when it gets so expensive for these Liberal seniors, maybe they'll have to go back to work and say, well, wait a minute, what happened? I'll tell you what happened. The last election happened. That's what happened. And Myron ends for $10. The thing is, they kept temporary workers and laid off older white men because that's not racist. No, it's not. All right, not at all. And they don't have to pay them benefits.
Yeah.
So they just save 20%, assuming you have a benefit program.
But even things like vacation and stuff like that, and holidays and all that.
But the economy, this is the other price of the economy, squeezing all these businesses as well. They're having to cut costs wherever they can.
Yeah.
So, Jessica Van Luke for $7. Will you have former MP Ronna Ambrose, Lisa Ray, and Peter MacKay, and Tony Clement on the show? They are great supporters of Pierre as well. That's a long list, maybe. We are going to be having, fingers crossed, someone in that vein, hopefully on the show when we're in Ottawa. But fingers crossed, things can always change. Things sometimes change the day of. So
true story.
But yeah, we'll be. Put this way, we're always looking to get great guests on Northern Perspective because you guys deserve it. So, but anyway, folks, it's 11 o'clock. It's on a Sunday. People have to work tomorrow. I have to work tomorrow. We have to work tomorrow. Everyone has to work tomorrow. It's Canada. But thank you so much to everybody for hanging out. And we hope that you have a wonderful, uneventful week. And hopefully we get some more squeeze on Mr. Mark Carney this week as things move forward. But we appreciate everybody hanging out with us and all the support. And please write your letters. They cost you nothing. Spiky Mikey 33, remember for 28 months, when the Conservatives finally get in, they have to install accountability for the government. Yeah, 100%. And we keep reminding them of that. Don't worry.
Yeah, and as Brian said, write your letters. It doesn't cost you anything, just a sheet of paper and an envelope. You do not need to put a stamp on it if you are sending a letter, like a paper letter, to the House of Commons address for that parliamentarian, whether it's a senator or a MP.
Anyway, folks, thank you so much. Have a wonderful night and a wonderful week, and we'll see you in the comments.
Good night.
Well, our fathers fought so our voices could be free, that thought and conscience would not bow to decree those rights and law. Only if we choose to take a stand without compromising truth. This land is more than headlines, more than noise and rage. We cut through all the chaos line by line, page by page. MP Nation, raise your voice tonight. Every province, every distant sky, we stand for something. We don't step aside. Truth in our hands, hope in our eyes. Truth is on our side when we resist despair and the power that divides. So we step forward.